Night falls gently, not as an ending, but as an opening. The world quiets, shadows soften, and the noise of waking life slowly dissolves into stillness. Under a vast African sky, stars shimmer like ancient eyes watching from beyond time. The moon hangs low, illuminating village paths, rivers, and open plains where generations have lived, dreamed, and listened. As the darkness deepens, the scene begins to shift. The calm of night transforms into a surge of color, bold patterns, flowing symbols, carved masks, and sacred motifs drawn from the heart of African art. This transition is not merely visual, it is symbolic. It marks the passage from the visible world into the unseen realm, from waking awareness into the mysterious landscape of dreams. Now, a question arises soft at first, yet impossible to ignore. What if your dreams were not random images of a resting mind, but direct messages from the universe itself? What if, while your body sleeps, something far older and wiser speaks to you? Across much of the modern world, dreams are often dismissed as illusions, fragments of memory, or the byproducts of neurological activity. But in many African spiritual traditions, dreams are anything but meaningless. They are doors. They are pathways. They are sacred moments when the boundary between worlds grows thin. In African dream lore, sleep is not an escape from reality, it is an entry into a deeper one. Dreams are understood as a vital channel of communication between humans and the spiritual forces that shape existence. Through dreams, ancestors speak to the living, spirits issue warnings or blessings, and the unseen order of the cosmos reveals itself in symbols and stories. To dream is not simply to imagine, it is to receive. It is to be taught, guided, corrected, or prepared for what is yet to come. Across diverse African cultures, from the forests of Central Africa to the savannas of the Sahel, from the river kingdoms of West Africa to the highlands of the East, dreams occupy a central place in spiritual life. Though traditions differ in language and ritual, they share a profound understanding: the universe is alive, conscious, and communicative. It does not speak only through thunder, illness, or prophecy spoken aloud. It also whispers through the silent language of dreams. In these traditions, dreams are often seen as a meeting ground where time collapses. The past, present, and future can coexist within a single vision. An ancestor who died centuries ago may appear as vividly as a living relative. A dream may replay an event that has not yet happened, offering a warning or a chance to change its outcome. Such dreams are not taken lightly. They are discussed with elders, interpreted by diviners, and remembered as part of a person's spiritual responsibility. To ignore a meaningful dream is, in many beliefs, to turn away from guidance freely given. Dreams are also understood as mirrors of moral balance. A troubled dream may signal that harmony has been broken between a person and their community, their ancestors, or the natural world. A joyful or luminous dream may indicate approval, protection, or alignment with one's destiny. In this way, dreams function as a spiritual compass, pointing not only to what is, but to what ought to be. They invite reflection, accountability, and growth. Importantly, African dream lore does not treat every dream as sacred by default. There is wisdom in discernment. Some dreams are simple echoes of daily life, while others carry a weight that can be felt upon waking, a lingering presence, a sense of urgency, or a clarity that defies logic. These are the dreams believed to come from beyond the individual self. They are often marked by repetition, symbolic imagery, or encounters with powerful figures such as animals, elders, or ancestral spirits. Such dreams demand attention because they are believed to originate from realms that exist beyond ordinary perception. At the heart of this belief lies a worldview radically different from modern materialism. In African spiritual systems, reality is layered. The physical world is only one level of existence, interwoven with spiritual dimensions that constantly interact with human life. Dreams are one of the most accessible ways these dimensions intersect. They require no shrine, no public ritual, only sleep, openness, and the willingness to listen. Every person, regardless of status, may become a messenger or a recipient of sacred knowledge through dreams. This understanding transforms the act of dreaming into something profound and intimate. Night becomes a sacred space. Sleep becomes a ritual. The dreamer becomes a traveler, moving between worlds. In this space, fear and wonder often walk side by side. A dream may bring comfort, revealing that ancestors continue to watch over their descendants. Or it may bring warning, revealing dangers hidden from waking eyes. Either way, the dream is never meaningless. It is part of an ongoing conversation between humanity and the forces that sustain life. As we step beyond the waking eye and into the realm of African dream lore, we are invited to reconsider our own relationship with dreams. What have we been overlooking each night? What messages have gone unheard because we were taught not to listen? This journey is not only about ancient beliefs, it is about remembering a way of seeing the world where meaning is not confined to daylight, and wisdom does not always speak in words. In the chapters that follow, we will explore how African traditions understand dream messengers, ancestral visions, prophetic warnings, and symbolic journeys of the soul. We will uncover stories where dreams save families, guide leaders, and reshape destinies. But first, we begin here, in the quiet of night, at the threshold between worlds, where a single question lingers. When you close your eyes, who is truly speaking to you? In the world of African spirituality, dreams are never silent. Even when they unfold without words, they speak in symbols, rich, layered images that carry meanings shaped by ancestry, environment, and sacred tradition. These symbols are not random decorations of the sleeping mind. They are a language, refined over generations, through which the ancestors and spiritual forces communicate with the living. To understand a dream, one must learn to listen not with the ears, but with memory, intuition, and cultural wisdom. Among the most powerful and recurring dream symbols in African spiritual thought is water. Water is life, origin, and passage. In many traditions, rivers and oceans are believed to separate the physical world from the spiritual realm. To dream of clear, flowing water often signifies cleansing, renewal, or ancestral blessing. It may suggest that a person is being spiritually washed, prepared for a new stage of life, or guided back into harmony. Turbulent or muddy water, however, can carry warnings, emotional turmoil, spiritual imbalance, or unresolved conflict within the family or community. Crossing a river in a dream is especially significant, often interpreted as a transition between states of being, such as childhood to adulthood, illness to healing, or ignorance to insight. Animals are another central language of dream symbolism, each carrying distinct spiritual authority. In African cosmology, animals are not lesser beings. They are carriers of wisdom and messengers of unseen forces. To dream of a lion may point to leadership, courage, or a challenge that demands strength and responsibility. A snake, often misunderstood in other traditions, frequently represents transformation, ancestral power, or hidden knowledge. Birds may symbolize spiritual freedom, messages from ancestors, or the soul's ability to move between worlds. The specific behavior of the animal matters deeply. An animal that guides, attacks, watches, or speaks all conveys different layers of meaning. These dreams are rarely interpreted in isolation. They are read in connection to the dreamer's life, lineage, and current spiritual state. Colors also play a vital symbolic role in African dream interpretation. White is commonly associated with purity, peace, and the presence of benevolent ancestral spirits. A dream dominated by white may indicate protection, spiritual alignment, or approval from the unseen realm. Red often carries dual meaning. It can represent life force, vitality, and power, but also danger, anger, or blood-related conflict. Black is not necessarily negative. In many African traditions, it signifies mystery, depth, ancestral authority, and the fertile darkness from which life emerges. Bright, vibrant colors may reflect spiritual awakening, while dull or fading tones can signal exhaustion, neglect of rituals, or weakening spiritual connection. Beyond individual symbols, African dream lore emphasizes movement and interaction. Are you walking freely, or are your feet heavy? Are you being chased, guided, or invited? These dynamics matter as much as the images themselves. A dream where the dreamer is guided by an elder or a familiar but deceased figure often points to ancestral intervention. Such dreams are treated with particular seriousness, as they suggest direct contact rather than symbolic suggestion. The ancestors are believed to choose dreams when waking communication is impossible, using images the dreamer will recognize and remember. To make these abstract meanings accessible, visual storytelling plays a crucial role. In many contemporary interpretations, animated imagery brings these symbols to life, flowing water that transforms into ancestral faces, animals that glow with spiritual energy, colors that pulse and shift with meaning. These visual interpretations mirror the way dreams themselves operate, fluid, symbolic, and emotionally charged. They allow viewers to feel the message rather than simply understand it intellectually, bridging ancient wisdom with modern forms of expression. Yet a crucial question remains: how do spiritual practitioners distinguish between an ordinary dream and one of divine significance? Not every dream carries a message from the ancestors. African spiritual systems place great importance on discernment. A mundane dream is often fragmented, easily forgotten, and closely tied to daily activities or recent experiences. A spiritually significant dream, by contrast, leaves a mark. It may repeat itself over several nights, carry unusually vivid imagery, or awaken the dreamer with a strong emotional or physical sensation. Some are accompanied by symbols that align with known ancestral signs or personal spiritual callings. Timing also matters. Dreams that occur during periods of illness, major life transitions, or ritual preparation are more likely to be interpreted as spiritually meaningful. Likewise, dreams that coincide with traditional sacred days or follow acts of prayer, libation, or sacrifice are often seen as responses rather than coincidences. In such cases, the dream is not interpreted alone. Elders, diviners, or spiritual healers may be consulted to decode its message, ensuring that personal desire does not distort sacred meaning. Another key marker of divine dreams is clarity. Even when the symbols are complex, the dream often carries a sense of purpose. The dreamer may feel instructed, warned, or reassured. There is a difference between confusion and mystery. Spiritually significant dreams may be mysterious, but they are rarely empty. They invite reflection and action, urging the dreamer to restore balance, make amends, prepare for change, or accept a calling. In African spirituality, to decode a dream is not to control the future, but to align with it. Dream symbols are not rigid codes. They are living signs that adapt to context, culture, and individual destiny. Understanding them requires patience, humility, and respect for ancestral knowledge. As we listen to these whispers of the ancestors, we begin to realize that dreams are not merely personal experiences. They are communal messages, threads woven into the larger fabric of spiritual life. And so, each night becomes a question once more. When symbols rise from the depths of sleep, are they echoes of the mind, or are they ancient voices, still speaking, waiting to be understood? In African spiritual worldviews, the universe is never silent. Even in the most ordinary moments, messages are being spoken, carried by wind, movement, and the subtle rhythms of nature. What many might dismiss as coincidence is, in these traditions, understood as communication. Nature itself becomes an oracle, a living text written by unseen forces, constantly offering signs to those who know how to observe. Omens do not always arrive through dreams or rituals. Often, they appear in daylight, woven seamlessly into the fabric of everyday life. One of the most widely Recognized forms of natural omens is bird behavior. Birds, moving freely between earth and sky, are seen as messengers between worlds. Their sudden cries, flight patterns, or unexpected presence can signal approval, warning, or imminent change. A bird calling persistently near a home may be interpreted as a message from ancestors attempting to draw attention. Certain birds appearing at unusual times, such as nocturnal birds calling during the day, are often viewed as signs that the natural order has been momentarily disturbed, urging caution or spiritual reflection. In some traditions, a bird crossing one's path from a specific direction may symbolize good fortune, while the opposite direction may advise delay or restraint. Animals crossing one's path form another powerful category of omens. In African cosmology, animals are not passive creatures. They are spiritual participants in the universe. When an animal appears unexpectedly, especially in places where it does not normally belong, it is rarely ignored. A snake crossing a road may represent ancestral authority, transformation, or a test of respect towards sacred forces. An antelope darting across a path might symbolize urgency or the need for swift decision-making. Even small creatures carry meaning. Insects entering a home in unusual numbers, or behaving strangely, can be interpreted as signals of imbalance, visitation, or impending news. These encounters are not judged solely by the animal itself, but by context, time of day, location, the behavior of the animal, and the emotional response it provokes all contribute to interpretation. An omen is not a fixed message but a moment of alignment between human awareness and natural expression. The same animal may carry different meanings, depending on the individual, their lineage, and the circumstances of their life. This fluidity adds depth to the system, ensuring that interpretation remains a living practice rather than a rigid rulebook. Weather patterns also play a crucial role in everyday omens. Rain arriving unexpectedly may be seen as a blessing, especially after prayer or ritual, signaling ancestral approval or spiritual cleansing. Conversely, prolonged drought, sudden storms, or unseasonal winds may be interpreted as warnings, signs of neglected obligations, broken taboos, or collective imbalance within a community. Thunder and lightning are often associated with powerful spiritual forces, announcing moments of judgment, revelation, or transformation. Even the direction and intensity of the wind can carry meaning, believed to transport voices from the unseen realm. To bring these ideas to life, visual storytelling becomes essential. Sweeping B-roll footage of rustling leaves, birds lifting into the sky, animals moving silently through grasslands, and storm clouds gathering on the horizon captures the emotional power of these signs. Such imagery reflects the way omens are experienced, not as isolated events, but as immersive moments where the natural world seems to pause and speak. The slow flight of a bird, the sudden stillness before rain, or the unexpected crossing of an animal path, all carry a quiet intensity that words alone cannot fully convey. What deepens the mystery is the belief that these events are deliberate, not accidental. In African spiritual thought, the unseen world actively engages with the visible one. Spirits, ancestors, and cosmic forces are believed to shape natural occurrences to guide human behavior. An omen does not force an outcome. It offers insight. It invites attention, humility, and choice. To notice an omen is already to participate in a dialogue with the universe. Crucially, not every unusual event is automatically considered an omen. Discernment remains central. Repetition, timing, and resonance matter. A single strange occurrence may pass without meaning, but when signs repeat or align with moments of emotional or spiritual significance, they demand reflection. Elders and spiritual practitioners often help interpret these moments, ensuring that fear or superstition does not overshadow wisdom. An omen is not meant to terrify, it is meant to guide. In this worldview, humans are not observers standing apart from nature, they are woven into it. Every step taken on the earth, every glance at the sky, is part of a larger conversation. The universe does not shout its messages. It whispers them through feathers, footprints, clouds, and wind. Learning to read these signs requires patience and respect, and understanding that meaning often hides in the ordinary. As we begin to see nature as an oracle, everyday life transforms. A bird's call becomes a question. A sudden change in weather becomes a reminder. An animal crossing a path becomes an invitation to pause and reflect. The world grows deeper, more alive, and more mysterious. And in that mystery lies a profound realization: the unseen is never far away. It walks beside us, speaks through the land, and waits, always, for us to notice. In African spiritual traditions, messages from dreams and omens are never meant to be interpreted in isolation. While the universe speaks through symbols, nature, and the unseen realm, it is the spiritual practitioners, diviners, healers, and seers who serve as the guardians of understanding. They stand at the threshold between worlds, trained to listen where others hear only silence, and to see meaning where others see coincidence. Without them, the language of dreams and omens would remain fragmented, powerful yet dangerously misunderstood. Spiritual practitioners occupy a position of profound responsibility within their communities. They are not merely interpreters of signs. They are mediators between human life and spiritual order. When a dream carries disturbing imagery, or when omens appear repeatedly in daily life, people turn to these practitioners not out of superstition, but out of trust built over generations. Their role is to clarify, to protect, and to restore balance, ensuring that spiritual messages guide rather than confuse or frighten. The path to becoming such a practitioner is neither simple nor quick. It demands rigorous training, unwavering discipline, and deep spiritual commitment. Many are chosen rather than self-appointed, often marked from an early age by unusual dreams, recurring visions, or unexplained illnesses believed to signal a calling from the ancestors. Once recognized, the initiate enters years of apprenticeship under an elder practitioner. During this time, they learn sacred symbols, oral histories, ritual protocols, and the complex relationships between dreams, omens, and human destiny. Training extends far beyond intellectual knowledge. Spiritual practitioners must cultivate inner clarity through fasting, ritual purification, and strict moral codes. Emotional control is essential, as personal fear, desire, or ego can distort interpretation. A practitioner is taught to empty themselves before listening, to become a clear vessel through which ancestral wisdom can flow. This discipline is what separates genuine spiritual authority from guesswork or deception. The community understands this distinction well. Respect is earned through consistency, humility, and results. Mastery of interpretation also requires a deep understanding of context. No dream or omen exists in isolation. A diviner must consider the dreamer's family lineage, recent events, unresolved conflicts, and spiritual obligations. The same symbol may carry different meanings for different individuals. A snake in a dream, for example, might signify ancestral power for one person, but spiritual danger for another. Practitioners are trained to ask the right questions, not to interrogate, but to listen carefully, allowing the full message to reveal itself. Healers, too, play a vital role in this process. Many illnesses in African spiritual systems are believed to have both physical and spiritual dimensions. A recurring dream or persistent omen may signal a deeper imbalance that manifests as sickness or misfortune. The healer interprets these signs not only to explain what is happening, but to prescribe action, rituals of reconciliation, offerings to ancestors, or changes in behavior that restore harmony. Interpretation without action is considered incomplete. Guidance must lead to transformation. To illustrate this role, consider a common story told in many variations across African traditions. A young farmer once approached a respected diviner after experiencing the same dream for 3 consecutive nights. In the dream, He stood at the edge of a river that suddenly ran dry, while a bird circled above him, crying loudly. Troubled and fearful, he believed the dream foretold death or disaster. When he shared this vision, the diviner did not rush to judgment. Instead, he listened, observed the man's demeanor, and consulted his spiritual tools. After reflection, the diviner revealed a different meaning. The drying river, he explained, symbolized the farmer's neglect of his ancestral obligations. The bird's cry was not a threat, but a call, an urgent reminder. The diviner instructed the farmer to perform a simple ritual of acknowledgement and to reconcile a long-standing family dispute he had been avoiding. Though skeptical, the farmer obeyed. Within weeks, tensions in his household eased, his crops recovered after a sudden rainfall, and the troubling dream ceased. What seemed like a prophecy of doom had been, in truth, an invitation to restore balance. Stories like this endure because they capture the essence of spiritual practice, guidance rooted in wisdom, not fear. The practitioner does not impose meaning but reveals it, transforming anxiety into clarity. Their success is measured not by spectacle, but by harmony restored within individuals, families, and communities. In African spirituality, practitioners are not worshipped, nor are they above those they serve. They are guardians, not rulers. Their power lies in service, discipline, and alignment with ancestral truth. In a world filled with signs and symbols, they remind us that understanding is a sacred skill, one that must be learned, respected, and used with care. Through them, the voices of dreams and omens become pathways to healing, responsibility, and wisdom, guiding life back into balance. Though rooted in ancient soil, African spiritual wisdom has never belonged solely to the past. It was born from centuries of careful observation, of human behavior, of nature's rhythms, and of the invisible forces believed to shape destiny. In today's fast-moving, hyper-connected world, these traditions may appear distant, even mysterious. Yet their relevance has only deepened. As modern life grows louder and more complex, the quiet intelligence of ancestral knowledge offers something increasingly rare, guidance grounded in balance, attention, and meaning. At the heart of African spiritual practice lies a simple yet profound truth: the universe is relational. Human beings do not exist apart from nature, ancestors, or unseen forces. They exist within a living network of influence. This worldview stands in sharp contrast to modern habits of isolation and speed. Today, many people struggle with anxiety, disconnection, and uncertainty. Despite unprecedented access to information, African spiritual systems remind us that wisdom does not always arrive through data or prediction. Sometimes it arrives through listening to dreams, to the environment, and to the subtle shifts within ourselves. In contemporary life, dreams are often dismissed as noise created by stress or imagination. Yet when viewed through an African spiritual lens, dreams invite a deeper conversation. They ask us to slow down and consider what our inner world is expressing. Repeating dreams, vivid symbols, or dreams that leave a strong emotional imprint may signal unresolved tensions, unacknowledged desires, or moments of transition. Whether or not one interprets these dreams as messages from ancestors, the practice of reflection itself carries power. Paying attention to dreams encourages self-awareness, emotional honesty, and intentional living, qualities that modern life frequently erodes. The same applies to environmental cues. African spiritual traditions teach that meaning often hides in the ordinary. A sudden change in weather, a recurring animal encounter, or an unexpected disruption to routine may prompt reflection, rather than dismissal. In a modern context, this does not require literal belief in omens. It requires presence. It asks us to notice patterns, to ask why certain moments linger in our awareness, and to consider how our choices align, or conflict, with our inner sense of balance. In this way, ancient practices become tools for mindfulness, grounding, and ethical clarity. Bridging ancient Wisdom with contemporary life does not mean abandoning modern knowledge or technology. It means integrating them with older ways of knowing. African spiritual systems never sought to dominate nature or control the future. They sought harmony. This principle speaks directly to modern challenges, environmental crisis, fractured communities, and the relentless pursuit of productivity at the cost of well-being. The idea that humans are accountable not only to themselves, but to a larger web of life, offers a corrective to unchecked individualism. Personal insight emerges when we allow these ideas to meet our own experiences. What dreams have you forgotten because you woke up rushing? What moments have you dismissed as coincidence because you were too busy to pause? African spirituality does not demand belief, it invites curiosity. It encourages individuals to become observers of their own lives, to recognize patterns, and to seek meaning beyond surface appearances. This reflective posture alone can reshape how we respond to challenges, relationships, and change. Importantly, African spiritual traditions emphasize responsibility alongside insight. Messages, whether from dreams, symbols, or intuition, are not meant to predict fate, but to guide action. Awareness carries obligation. If a dream reveals imbalance, the response is restoration. If a sign suggests caution, the response is mindfulness. This ethical dimension is especially relevant today, when many seek quick answers without deeper accountability. Ancient wisdom reminds us that guidance is not about certainty, it is about alignment. As these traditions continue to resonate across cultures and generations, they reveal their enduring strength. They have survived colonization, displacement, and misunderstanding because they address something universal: the human need for connection, meaning, and reassurance that life is not random. Beneath the rituals and symbols lies a worldview that honors memory, community, and the unseen dimensions of existence. The unseen guardians of African spirituality, ancestors, spirits, and natural forces, may be interpreted differently by modern minds. Some may view them as literal presences, others as symbolic expressions of inherited wisdom. Yet their function remains the same: to remind us that we are not alone, that our lives are part of a longer story, and that guidance is always available to those willing to listen. As you reflect on what you have heard, consider this an invitation rather than a conclusion. Pay attention tonight when you close your eyes. Notice the world around you tomorrow as you move through it. Meaning often speaks softly, and it rarely repeats itself for those who refuse to listen. If this exploration has sparked curiosity or reflection, stay connected. Subscribe, engage, and continue this journey into the unseen wisdom that has guided generations. Because in a world searching for direction, ancient voices still whisper, and they are waiting to be heard.